Namaste, everyone, and welcome to this sacred space. I am Uma Alexandra Bipat, soul alignment coach, spiritual teacher, and your guide today on this journey through the 8 limbs of yoga. Whether you're tuning in because you love yoga, you're spiritually curious, or you're just ready to deepen your connection with yourself, you are in the right place. So let me begin today's Uma Talks Thursday with a quote that has stayed with me for years. And this is the quote: Yoga isn't about touching your toes, it's about what you learn on the way down. Today, we are going to go beyond the mat. We're stepping away from the leggings, poses, and fitness classes, and instead diving into a path of spiritual evolution. This ancient system isn't just for your body, it's a framework for awakening your soul. It is actually the framework that I used to awaken my own soul and what led me onto the path of enlightenment, also making me the spiritual mentor and teacher that I am to lead others on their path. And I have to tell you personally, between you and me, yoga didn't only work for my own personal development, but I was able to use it to unlock consciousness in those that were also under my care. So if you tune in today and really listen in, you can get some jewels that can truly help you with your path towards enlightenment. Thank you to everyone who is watching on YouTube and Facebook for liking my video. I can see the likes coming in. I appreciate you. And thank you to everyone on TikTok who's holding the hearts down, trying to get me to 10,000 likes so we can make the For You page. I appreciate you all. All right, guys, let's dive in. Let's start with the roots of yoga. The 8 limbs of yoga come from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, written over 2,000 years ago. In fact, I first came to know this book when I lived at the ashram to gain my 200-hour yoga teaching certification. It was one of the required curriculum we had to read to graduate our class. This book was written over 2,000 years ago by Patanjali, who is considered the father of yoga. And it was never meant to be separate practices, but a step-by-step path into spiritual liberation. In fact, when you learn about the 8 limbs of yoga and you actually apply it to your life, you can actually achieve enlightenment through following the steps. Think of the 8 limbs like a ladder. You start at the base, focusing on the yamas and niyamas, climbing upwards towards inner peace, and ultimately union with the divine, which is sure to happen. I'm here to tell you that because it happened for me. So the first limb and the second limb of yogas is yama and niyamas. The limbs are yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, yana, and samadhi. So I'm going to talk about each of those 8 limbs. I will spell the words out for those of you that are taking notes, and we can walk this path together step by step. But before I begin, I'm going to ask those of you that love to learn, get your notebooks, your pencils, your journals, your pens, whatever you need now. And we're going to dive into the 8 limbs of yoga. For those of you on YouTube, please enjoy the scenic background, compliments of Lounge V Films, and you'll be able to see some beautiful natural landscapes. Okay, let's start with the yamas. The yamas are 5 moral disciplines, and these are the foundations of how we relate to the world around us. Number 1 is ahimsa. So of the 5 yamas, ahimsa is the vow of nonviolence. This is more than not hurting others. It's about not hurting yourself as well. Mahatma Gandhi made this vow popular because he took the vow of ahimsa. It's about speaking with kindness, thinking compassionate thoughts, and treating others and yourself with love. So, if you get up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, God, I look fat, you're actually breaking a vow of ahimsa. Ahimsa is nonviolence to yourself and to others. And that is one of the 5 yamas that those of us on the yogic path take as our discipline. Number 2 is satya, truthfulness. Are you living in alignment with your truth? Do your actions match your heart? Most people think satya is just about being truthful. It's not just about being truthful, it's about, are you living the right life, having the right thoughts right for you? Let's say, for example, you work a 9 to 5, you make a lot of great money, but your heart is in photography. What if your path is to become a photographer? Less money, but it is truly what your heart desires. That is the meaning of satya, truthfulness, living in accordance to what you want. Number 3 of the yamas is asteya, non-stealing. This includes not taking people's time, energy, or ideas. So, there's a lot of people in the spiritual community that have this nasty habit of taking classes from people and then copying their work and sharing it as if it's their own. I would know that's happened to me several times, but I assure you it doesn't bother me, because breaking any sacred law, natural law, any vows made doesn't hurt me, it hurts them. And I've watched it time and time again. Asteya means to stay within your lane and not take anything from other people. This could be taking other people's time when you're going on and on in a conversation. It can be taking other people's energy or ideas, or even if you're at your office where you work and you're taking paper home. I know most people do that in office jobs, but it's also a form of stealing. These are the vows that we make when we step on the yogic path. Number 4 of the yamas is brahmacharya, which is moderation, especially of your energy. Where do you leak energy? What is consuming your energy? Are you constantly drained? Now, most people would look at brahmacharya as celibacy, and some people interpret brahmacharya as celibacy. But for most householders, which are people that follow the yogic path but not truly entrenched in the yogic path, like, say, a guru or a siddhi, they take brahmacharya as moderation. How much sex is enough sex? How much food is enough food? How much screen time is enough screen time? It's about taking the path of moderation, because knowing that all of life is surrounding you and you must take part. And finally, number 5 of the yamas is aparigraha, non attachment, releasing the need to possess or control and letting life flow. Most people struggle with aparigraha because we are conditioned on this planet to become attached. Just look at all of the programmed commercials that you watch every day, whether it's on your TV, on your device, or in between podcasts that have filler spots with advertisements. Everything is begging for your attention. In fact, your attention is your currency in this world. If you can practice non attachment, you have reached a level of enlightenment that most on this planet do not know. This is why relationships and love is such a draw to people. It is definitely a part of the matrix, meant to distract you, confuse you, and take up all of your time. Because the longer you are embroiled in a love situationship, the less time you have to focus on other things. That's why we on the yogic path practice aparigraha, non attachment. So the yamas is the first limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. Can you see now that yogis and yoginis, when we say we practice yoga, it's not just poses, it's a way of life. And when you understand the way the yogis live, it may draw you to want to live the same way. That's why I said in my spiritual discipline, I chose the path of yoga. It's not a religion, it's a spiritual path like Buddhism. But for me, yogic path made sense because just look at how clearly they defined what is expected of yogis and yoginis, right? This is just the first limb, the yamas. So let's review the first limb of yoga, yamas. The yamas are the moral disciplines we practice as followers of the yogic path. It is the foundation of how we relate to the world around us. You speak to anyone who calls themselves a yogi or yogini, and you will hear them talk about these 5 principles, or you may see them live it through their actions. So, I'm going to go over the 5 yamas, but I'm also going to tell you how I practice this in my life. The first yama is ahimsa, nonviolence. I chose nonviolence for myself by choosing to accept the way I am, the way I look, and where I'm at in life without judgment. This ahimsa is more than not hurting others. It's about speaking with kindness, thinking compassionate thoughts, and treating yourself and others with love. Most of my friends can tell you I am a very loving person. I have a lot of love to give, and that is me practicing ahimsa. Number 2 is satya, truthfulness. Are you living in alignment with your truth? As you guys can see, so I am. Because satya tells me that if I'm not living in alignment with my truth, I can never truly be happy. Number 3 is asteya, non stealing. This includes not taking people's time, energy, or ideas. I tend to stay very, very, very far away from any of my friends, my family members, my loved ones' personal lives and stories. I wait for them to bring it to me. I don't crowd people. You can talk to any of my friends and they'll tell you, Uma's not going to interfere in my life until I tell her. She's not going to ask about what's going on until I tell her, because that's the way she moves. Now, some people can see that as not caring instead of I'm respecting boundaries, because I practice asteya, which is non stealing of people's time, energy, or ideas. Number 4 is brahmacharya, which is moderation. I am very mindful of my energy. If I need to take a break, I take a break. I don't apologize. I don't make excuses. I don't keep going. The show must go on. No, I honor my energy. And everything is in moderation. If I work really hard, I must take a break. And then I'll take a break for a few days or hours or weeks. But then I get back on and I go again. And number 5 is aparigraha, which is non attachment. I do not attach to anything in life, whether it is habits, hobbies, places, jobs, careers, relationships. And that is very evident if people have been watching me for the past 20 or so years. You would see me moving through lots of different friend groups and relationships and jobs and locations without attachment to any, because that is one of the vows of yamas. So that is the yamas about personal disciplines. Now let's go to the second limb of yoga, which is the niyamas. And these are personal observances and how we treat ourselves. Now, remember, guys, those of you that are watching live, you can always ask me questions and let me know what you think in the comments below. The first of the niyamas is saucha, and saucha is for purity, not just physical cleanliness, but also keeping your thoughts and energy clean. This is one of the ones that I had to really work on with myself because due to my upbringing, I grew up with a very negative mindset. I used to be the girl that took part and took joy in other people's downfall and gossiped and talked about others and just had a lot of infiltration in my mindset of negative things. It took me a long time to do mindset reset. And that's why I'm so good at it with my clients because I was in their shoes and I know what it was like to be trapped. So saucha is about having that pure thought, pure view of everything. And a lot of my people or people in my community will say that, Uma's that optimist and she always is too optimistic. And I don't believe there's any such thing as being too optimistic because it's how we see things is how things will turn out. Number two of the niyamas, the personal observances, is santosha, which means contentment. Finding joy right where you are. Can you be happy now? Santosha means you may not have it all. You may not have the love of your life. You may not have the job that you've always wanted. You may not be at the weight that you want to be at, but you have contentment. If you can say that, then you are practicing Santosha. Number three of the niyamas is tapas, which is discipline. This is our spiritual fire. What are you willing to commit for your growth? I had a beautiful spa day today with my children and my partner and my friends. And I came home and I was exhausted from just relaxing all day. And all of me just wanted to lay on the couch. But my tapas, my discipline, my spiritual fire would not allow me because I knew I had people waiting for this talk tonight and I had to show up for it. Number four of the niyamas is swadhyaya, which is self-study. This includes reading sacred texts, but also deeply reflecting on yourself, whether through meditation or journaling. It's trying to understand yourself in a better way. And finally, number five of the niyamas is Ishvara Pranidhana, which is surrender to a higher power, trusting the divine plan, and understanding you have no control. This is one of the greatest niyamas out of the niyamas and yamas that I practice. I always say, take the path of least resistance. When you take the path of least resistance, you're pretty much surrendering to a higher power and saying that, let thy will be done. Thy will being of your higher source. Now, take a moment and feel into these 10 concepts. Which one is calling to you? Out of the yamas, we have 5 yamas. Is it ahimsa, the path of nonviolence? Is it satya, truthfulness? Is it asteya, non-stealing? Is it brahmacharya, moderation? Is it aparigraha, non-attachment? Out of the niyamas, is it saucha, purity? Santosha, contentment? Tapas, discipline? Svadhyaya, self study, or Ishvara Pranidhana? Which one is calling to you? Whichever one spoke to your soul tonight is the one that is saying it is time to develop this in your life. Now let's move along. We have 8 limbs of yoga, and we just learned of the 10 yogic principles that are split up into the yamas and niyamas, which are the first and second limbs of yoga. The third limb of yoga is the asanas, which is what most people know about. It's the physical postures. In the Yoga Sutras, asana actually means a steady and comfortable seat. The body becomes a sacred temple to house your spirit. When we practice postures, we're preparing ourselves to sit in stillness. This comes as a surprise to many because most people feel that yoga has to do with poses. Well, for those of us that are on the yogic path, we actually practice the asanas to clear out the kinks in the body so we can sit for a prolonged period of time. After asanas, we have the fourth limb, which is pranayama, and that is breath control. Prana means life force. When you consciously work with your breath, you are literally guiding your energy. Let's take 3 deep breaths together right now. Deep breath in, exhale. Deep breath in, exhale. Deep breath in, exhale. Do you feel that shift? That is prana awakening. So, pranayama is the fourth limb. The fifth limb of yoga is pratyahara, which means withdrawal of the senses. It's not about numbing out, it is about tuning inward. When you close your eyes, turn off the noise, and meditate, you are in pratyahara. Think of it as sacred unplugging. Sometimes for yogis, we have to disconnect from the world. And this is why we tend to go on our own personal solitude trips. Some people call it a walkabout, some people call it a retreat into silence, a solo journey, a sabbatical, whatever the word. The idea is we have to tune everything out so that we can tune in. Now, finally, the last 3 legs of the limbs of yoga. We have dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. As we rise higher into the inner world, the realms of the mind and soul, we move into the last 3 limbs of yoga. Dharana is concentration, one pointed focus. It could be a mantra repetition or a candle flame. Maybe it's your breath. But dharana is the training ground for meditation. If the mind jumps, you gently bring it back. I offer meditation instruction. My clients either book me for a 1-hour session or a 5-day session where we sit and meditate together. And with each of these options, I always teach them dharana. I give them a mantra to say using mala beads, and I teach them how to use the mala beads to say the mantra. And then we sit in silence and meditate together. It is the best way, in my opinion, to get to the next step of the 8 limbs of yoga, which is dhyana, meditation. Dhyana is a flow state. You're not just concentrating anymore, you're being. It is stillness, awareness, and presence. You watch thoughts float by without attaching to them. Let's try it now. Take a second to close your eyes and feel your breath. And just be still for 30 seconds. That is the doorway to dhyana. And finally, the eighth limb of yoga is samadhi. Samadhi is the crown jewel, enlightenment, union with Source, the beloved. The ego dissolves, there is no separation. It's hard to describe because it's beyond the mind, but it is peace, it is oneness. And believe it or not, it is your true nature. You don't chase samadhi, you remember it. The 8 limbs aren't steps on a to do list, they are a spiral of spiritual awakening. You revisit each one as you evolve. Some days you need more discipline. Some days you need to focus on contentment. Some days you need to do those poses and asanas. And some days you need more surrender. Think of the 8 limbs like your spiritual instrument. Each one brings you into harmony with your soul. Which limb are you currently living in? Which one is calling you to deepen? Are you called to focus on the yamas, the 5 principles to show you ethics? Are you being called to niyamas, the 5 principles for self-discipline? Are you called for asanas, practicing the poses? Or how about pranayama, increasing and refining your energy through breath work? Maybe some of you are interested in pratyahara, an inner retreat from the outside noises of the world. Or you're really called to dharana, focus. Maybe many of you are higher up with the dhyana, meditation aspect of life. Or maybe some of you have worked on all the others and are now ready for samadhi, enlightenment. These are not just ideas, they're actual tools for awakening. Before we go, I invite you to affirm with me, I walk the path of yoga with grace, truth, and soul alignment. Let's repeat that again. I walk the path of yoga with grace, truth, and soul alignment. If this talk resonated with you, leave a comment sharing which limb spoke to your heart. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with a fellow seeker. I am Uma Alexandra Bipat, and it has been my honor to walk this path with you today. That's all for now, my lotus petals. And remember, each and every day you are the lotus flower rising through the mud to share your beauty with the world. May peace, love, and light guide your path today and every day. Namaste.